Hello folks, welcome to Gelvin Valley. We're in the middle of harvest, field number 49, harvesting barley on our little farm here in Gelvin Valley. This is Farming Simulator 15, and this is a wonderful map created by Wild Wes, who I believe is someone who lives in the UK, and he modeled this map on, oh, here comes our tractor, good old horseplay. Let me just, how about I stop you there and put out the unloading auger. Of course, our tractor is headed directly for the fence. It likes the fence. Why do you ask? Oh, dear me. Well, we are running short of fuel in our combine. Let's see, is there a little space kind of tucked down here that we can... There we go. Okay, you know what? That is probably close enough. Let me see, can I drive right now? What are you gonna do? Alright, well, he's trying to do the right thing. Isn't he? I don't know. Okay, we're gonna tuck in his auger. Something we... You know, I had a comment left on a recent video of someone who said he, in his harvest, he would go around the field, quote, the wrong way, meaning going counterclockwise versus clockwise, like we're doing. And the reason, of course, is to protect the unloading auger. Of course, in game, it isn't going to hurt us, but in real life, if you put that thing out there and bend it around a tree, you're going to be having a bad day. You should try to get that fixed. Let's see, probably when we get up to the top here, we'll take a pause, and we're going to go get our pickup and fuel trailer and bring it up here and refuel some machinery. Attaboy, you can turn that corner. There you go. You're only taking half a cut. I'm proud of you. You made it around. Alright, you know what? I think I'm going to just help him out, and we're going to take a pause right maybe here. Just enough room to slip in there. We'll just turn him off, give him a rest. Well, we still have 1,700 and some liters in here, so that'll be enough to feed our combine, and maybe we'll feed the tractor and horseplay while we're at it too. Over the river and through the woods. Alright, here's where I head uphill. I can't even remember if when's the last time I kind of think I was on the big field across the way. That might be it. It's thirsty again, so we'll get her filled up. Is that close enough? Maybe? Steer the combine. Shame on me for not putting my brakes on. There we go. Fill it up. I wonder, let me check. Where's our... Alright. Oh, I just had the power flicker. You know, it is pretty windy outside. There, it flickered again. Oh boy. Yeah, of course you're in traffic, bud. Take a number. Oh, you're already full. Okay, let's get a move on. As I back toward the tractor, its instinct is to come toward me. Go figure. Alright, you're off and running. Let's turn you off and actually refuel you here. Oh, we should be able to. There we go. Alright, you're full of sauce. And we'll put you here. Waiting for the combine. Alright. Already in the tractor's way. Nobody look at what I'm doing. Didn't smash any crop. Nope, nothing to see here. I wonder if I can tuck this away over here maybe? Is this enough out of the way? Sorry person, I just ran you over. Yeah, something's wreaking havoc over there on my course play. Come on. Yeah, this is quite the steep hill to be messing around with course play on, that's for sure. Maybe he'll step up. Anyway, this particular session, one of the things I wanted to talk about, past couple sessions I was visiting about skunks, so maybe we can move on to a little less smelly topic. It's something I'm kind of curious about. Well, yeah, you're gonna go find the. Why don't you just let the combine go by, do its thing? That will remove the assignment so it can do what it needs to do. I'm always curious about the people who choose to listen to these. You know, I have a tiny channel, and I've explained before, you know, some of the motivation that I have for doing this is maybe a little different from some others in that I'm not really trying to grow a subscriber base or anything like that. It's more to, well, anyways, I don't need to repeat it all. You all heard it if you've been listening to this, but I am curious, the people that, you know, choose to listen. I suspect it's probably an older group, maybe, but I really don't know. But I do wonder sometimes, you know, how common our interests may be. And one of the things I was thinking about the other day is, you know, we all know what YouTube is. Are you going to make the turn there, Combine? And it's a curious thing to me to know what people enjoy watching on YouTube. So I thought I'd talk a little about some of my personal interests, if you will. You know, I listen to quite a fair amount of it when I'm working. Maybe while I'm doing this, I need to come down here and do some work. Listen to a fair amount of it, you know, while I'm working. Kind of helps the day go smoother, and I imagine I'm not the only one that does that. You know, just have some noise. There's that silly barrel out there. Something, you know, playing in the background, if you will, to help take the edge off of the day. You know, maybe some people listen to music, and it all depends on what I'm doing. You know, I work kind of in the financial sector, if you will. I'm an accountant, so if I'm reading a document or have to have, you know, some intense concentration, well, you pick the times when you can, and other times you can't listen to something or whatever. I'm sure I'm no different in that regard than anybody else, but thought I would share some of the things I'm interested in listening to, and I'd be curious if you would want to leave a comment. What are you interested in listening to? And so I jotted a few notes. It'd be interesting to go back and look at my history. I guess everybody has a history that is kept in there. See how accurate this is. But right at the top of the list, of course, I can't, since I'm doing a video on Farming Simulator here, of course, Farming Simulator comment or content is a huge area of listening material for me on YouTube. Particularly, I would say those that do role play type style, which isn't even what I'm doing here. Of course, it's what I'm doing here is kind of what my friend Eustace Farmer would. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Here, can you go ahead? Oh, I'm gonna owe so much repairing this dumb thing once I get it there. What my friend Eustace Farmer would call chewing the fat, where I'm just picking something and talking about it, just to exercise my voice. But I really, really enjoy listening to the guys who set up the role plays. And speaking of Eustace Farmer, those of us that knew him, that was an enormous draw that many of us had, as he was just a fabulous storyteller. And I know I've talked about him in here before, and some of the others that are out there who just do a great job somehow weaving a storyline into their farming sim. And I have one episode where I attempted to do this, well, maybe two if you count one other one. It's harder than it looks, and especially if you attempt to do it like Eustace Farmer did, which is to come up with different voices, different characters. He had kind of a library of characters, if you will, that he pulled from, with their own personalities, their accents, backgrounds. It just was brilliant, what he would put together. But I'm a sucker for stories, and so Farming Sim that has the role play content that tells a story is right at the top of the heap, if you will, for me. Well, not top. I mean, let's just say that's a favorite source of listening material to me. And it is hard to come up with ideas for it. What can you do with a farm within the limitations of the game? And of course, I'm having trouble again. There's only so much you can do. I mean, the nature of the game is farming activity, right? So if you're going to make a story and play the game, it has to incorporate both, right? You don't see different personalities on the farm. You don't see other interactions that the farmer has. I guess you kind of do when you sell something. Let's see, do you have? Nope, you don't. Drive now. All right, get out of here. So, given that you need to incorporate production farming activity, your options are kind of limited, and it's more the theater of the mind, I guess, if you get off into a storyline that is hard to depict with the action that you see on the screen. So for example, a very common premise, that you'll see in the role play stories is maybe you're a grandchild and you're coming home to the family farm and it's getting passed down to you, and so that's kind of how you start off. Or there's another one that I'm listening to right now, and I probably should put some links to these. I mean, these are just great. Some of these, this one I think is by Scroft. called farmhand, and he's working his way into the farm with the boss, and they have interactions there. But it's all around the farm, and so he's just creatively, he in this case, Scroft, creating other scenarios to put in there, and you got to use your imagination on a number of them, because there's things that just can't be shown on the screen, that he's describing or whatever. So that's a common theme, starting with nothing. You'll see lots of I guess episodes where guys are, I don't know if they almost call it Hunger Games or survival, where you start with nothing and you somehow turn it into a million-acre farm or $1 million farm, or I don't know. So, I mean, that's a very common thing, but you ask yourself, what else can you do? It's there's not many scenarios you can just come up with that are plausible or make sense and that can easily be depicted in the game. But working within those limits, that even being said, there's another group I've seen out there that does a lot of role play that has just tons of things that you would never think of doing in Farming Simulator. For example, I saw one time where the whole premise of the episode was fishing. And they had water, they had a boat, and there wasn't a bit of farming done. It was all about a fishing trip inside a Farming Simulator. I saw another one that was camping, another one riding dirt bikes, and all within the game engine of Farming Simulator, and there wasn't any farming done. So I guess there are other premises, that can that someone will work into the game. For me, I mean, the reason I enjoy this is I want the. What are you doing up here, buddy? You saying if the fence is good for the tractor, you're gonna go for it too, huh? Mm-hmm. Let's head you back up the hill with you. Alright, you jump in here. Yeah, okay, of course, Blaze is waiting over there. But not every bit of Farming Simulator listening out there is going to be storytelling or role play, and I enjoy listening to other types too. But storytelling has got to be probably at the top for me of types of listening that I enjoy doing. And I know I probably explained it before. I grew up in a home with a father who put his kids to bed with bedtime stories, so that's probably where I got it. Just having an affection for a story spoken out loud that just exercises, your imagination. So that is definitely something I enjoy. Another thing that I spend a significant amount of time listening to on YouTube is, I'm a Christian, and obviously we hear sermons and all those kinds of things at church and everything, usually on weekends and sometimes in the middle of the week. But I find myself hungering for that even during the middle of the week, and so a lot of the material I listen to on YouTube, it ranges anything from, listening to someone read the Bible to me. For example, I really enjoy listening to Alexander Scorby. I think he's passed away now. I think he's also British, but just has a beautiful voice, and just reading straight out of the Bible, all the way from stuff like that to sermons from pastors and teachers of the Bible, that I'm familiar with, including those from our church. So I mean, that's another huge area that I spend time listening to on YouTube, and frankly, other places too that I can find others. How is my? I bet. Yes, I knew it. Come on, stop, you lazy bum. But the tractor's in the way. You can just hear him. Okay, how about you go in there, button? Let me look at my notes here. You know, I mentioned the storytelling. Even outside farming sim, I really appreciate stories, especially if they're based on something real. There's this YouTuber, I think he goes by the name of Mr. Ballin, I think that's his channel name or whatever, and he tells, I wouldn't say they're creepy stories, they're maybe a little more unusual, if you will, or you know, kind of like freak accidents or people who go to places they're told to keep out of, but they went there anyway. You know, maybe stories like those who, what do they call those, spelunkers? People that go into caves. And I just get claustrophobic listening to his stories about these people who apparently enjoy it as a pastime, climbing into these caves and going down, you know, basically where they gotta inhale to fit through some narrow crevice they get jammed in, you know, in the hopes that it just opens up to something greater on the other side. And it gives me the willies just thinking about it. Well, unfortunately, some of these people get themselves into quite the predicaments and they can't get back out. There have been people who have unfortunately died underground, and the cave, you know, becomes their tomb, ultimately. So he tells those kinds of stories, or diving accidents, or things that happen in mines. Actually, there's a number of YouTube channels that have stories such as these, and it's just fascinating listening because it's based on true stories, things that actually happened, and he just, or he and a number of these guys just tell it in a really engaging format, and that kind of leads into another one, you know, that I enjoy. You know, it's history. Not everything in history. Obviously, there's going to be some things more interesting than others, but you know what? That's probably good enough. Now maybe I'll just take a slide here, turn it into one windrow there, so he doesn't have to do two. There we go. I've listened to a lot of historical things on wars, and you know, I don't know how these videos get onto YouTube. When I say listen to something, a lot of these, you know, I try to avoid the shorts. I know the shorts can be so catchy, they're just a minute long or whatever they are. But boy, you can sure waste a whole pile of time on those things, and they're just short little things, and you wonder when you're done, it's like, what in the world have I done? So I try to avoid those things. I try to go for something that has more substance behind it, and I don't know where a lot of these things come from. I mean, some of these are, you know, 45 minutes. Maybe they were intended at one point for television. I don't know. I don't know who puts them on there. I don't even know if it's illegal, but they're there, so I'll listen to them if it's a topic that's, you know, of interest to me. How's our combine doing? You know, I bet that silly guy is... Well, he thinks he's done. That's what he thinks. Oh, he probably wants to be unloaded. So a lot of things in history, you know, whether wars or boy, so many things that be of interest. Railroads, I enjoy anything ag related. And then, I mean, you can get into just a pile of documentaries. And I don't know who these people are, but there are some people, they just put it out there for free, and maybe they earn their revenue through YouTube or whatever. But there is some really quality documentaries out there that are just kind of hung out there for the whole world to see, and it's all for free. So, and I tend to, like, especially if I'm working, I can't watch it, you know, of course, because I'm busy doing my work. So I tend to like documentaries where I don't have to watch, where the narration is so good that I can get most of it just by, you know, listening to it. So I'm sure there's a lot that gets missed, but it's definitely something that helps the day go a whole lot better, just having some good listening material. Shoot, one documentary I listened to one time was on a type font of all things. Font. Anyways. Alright, folks, we have buttoned down number 49. So, why don't we offload here? Then we're gonna head up the hill. Let's turn on our beacons, indicator lights. You know, it's almost like the header well, no, that time it went out. Okay, I was gonna say maybe the header's interfering. Okay, we're going to take him partway down the road here because we are doing a little road trip. Kind of up to, let's see, we'll be heading up to Stonehenge Field. That's number 43 on the southern end of the map. Just got to keep from running over these people. Of course, we can drive right through these because we have all of our cars running through a trigger on this map. Alright, let's do something about this as well. Now, if we're going Stonehenge, that's field 43. So, let's see, 43 copy to Well, I guess we could sell it out of there too. Is there any improvement in the prices? Well, at least it isn't tanking too much anymore. It's kind of going to the side, maybe because we haven't sold any in a while. I don't even remember what type font it was. But it was one. This is, I mean, some of the things you learn in a documentary, things you never thought about. It saved the government millions of dollars when they switched their documents over to it because it required less ink, but still was apparently very readable. So, it's like, who would have thought that merely changing type font would have made such a difference? I sure wouldn't have. Oop. I should just turn you off so you don't waste fuel. Alright, let's send you up the hill and down the road. I don't think we want to go in there. Kind of a pokey, slow combine, but it is what it is. You know, another type of YouTube video I really enjoy watching. These I have to watch, so I kind of do these more in my spare time or as I have time. Is what's called restoration videos, and I don't have any of these skills. This is why I think it's probably so fascinating to me. Is I enjoy seeing people that are good with working with their hands and with tools, and have skills in that area that I just don't have. So a few of these that I've seen here recently, they've taken old tools, old toys. Oh dear. Oh Billy. You know what? How am I gonna get up there? Maybe I can come in the other entrance. That's gonna have to be what I do. Alright. Well, and I'm not gonna make you suffer all the way through it. But these guys that restore, you know, these old objects, you know, I just saw one here. It was a sewing machine of all things. And I believe the sewing machine was made in the latter 1800s, so it was all done by hand. I think it had a hand crank on it. And it was in a chicken pen, sitting out in the weather, rusted up, terrible. You look at it and it's like you just want to take it to the dump. You know, it's good for nothing. Well, this guy here turned it into something that looked brand spanking new. I mean, it just blows my mind. It probably looked better after this guy got through with it than it did, you know, when it was originally came from the factory. That's how good he is at it. You know, and just carefully taking it apart, washing thoroughly all the pieces. I say washing, a lot of it in this case was metal, and some of it gets sandblasted. You know, all of it eventually gets repainted. He even has he figures out the proper decals for putting the nameplate back on it. Just an amazing job he did, and it's just fascinating watching it. Some of it is sped up. You see him doing various parts of it, and then other parts are cut out. But that's something else I enjoy listening to also. So anyways, the bell is rung. Thank you, Eustace Farmer. We are en route to our Stonehenge field over here, kind of taking a long way, but we'll get the job done. Thank you for coming along for the ride, and I will see you on the next one. And goodbye for now.